Oh, hello again. And, ooh, out of focus. Alright. I'm also very, very high up in my shot. Hang on a minute, let's fix that. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Welcome back. Once again, it is time for round number 3 of season 3 of the GT3 series that we run here in the VGTR challenge. My name as ever is Tommy B, glassesless today, flying solo, relying on my vision to do the job for me. And today we're staying local. At least I'm staying local because I don't have to, virtually travel abroad for our race today. I'm just double checking where we actually are. We're going all the way up to Derby. For a race at the lovely Donnington Park circuit, formerly known, of course, if you're a Top Gear fan, you remember that it is formerly known as the Simply Sausages Donnington Raceway. As I try and tuck my hair neatly into my headphones. And I'm very pleased to announce we're going to have something a little bit different today because for the first time since I've had the pleasure of casting, we're going to have a wet race. It looks like forecast is looking pretty pretty moist right about now in the server. So without further ado, we're going to fire up Assetto Corsa and we're going to get in there and have a little look for ourselves. I believe the drivers will be struggling. I'm very glad I'm not driving today. I did hop on the practice server to have a little explore and see what they'd all be facing. And it was hell. I really did not enjoy myself in the slightest. And I hope that our drivers, being slightly more able than I am when it comes to this kind of stuff, I hope that they're going to have a slightly easier time as I just queued that up for later. I need to get some good what is it? I need to get some good, building up hype music. I'm thinking when we do the formation lap, I should start playing that. I can turn it off when we get to the last corner or something. I just feel like it'd be a good way to build up some atmosphere. But anyway, let's get into the server. Race for Donnington. Need to make sure I'm not joining as a driver. They misspelled Donnington in the server.
Green light, show them what you got.
A fun fact for you there. Right, without further ado, let's switch over to the game capture. I'm going to hoist up my monitor here and angle it so I can stand up. And I'm actually also going to, at the request of a couple... Oh, I'm already at maximum volume. Okay, well, I'm just going to turn the desktop audio down a decibel or two. And then we can get into viewing all of this. This part has a broadcasting mode, and then we are ready to go. Let's have a look at what we're facing today. As you can see right now, it's actually pretty dry here in free practice, so not entirely representative of what we're going to be seeing in a little while's time. As you'll see, also we have all the returning names, all the names that you'll be familiar with if you're a long-time viewer of the VGTR Challenge. No newcomers so far today, but of course we still have 10 minutes of free practice where people might hop in. You can see John Gibson at the bottom of the scoreboard there doing just that. But let's go through and have a look at who we have got today. Starting with one of our host of American drivers here, Josh Buckwalter, as I quickly realise I haven't brought up the SimGrid page on my phone and should really bring that up so I have a little look at the standings. Josh Buckwalter currently sitting P8 in the standings. Great fourth place for him back in round 2, last time out of Bathurst. Not quite as productive, P9, but still a solid result. Means he is the second highest placed American in the standings, and crucially the highest placed driver from the online racing collective. So a solid start to the season so far for Josh Buckwalter. Behind him we have Jordan Momchalov doing a little bit of off-roading. We'll get back to him when he's actually on track. Daniel Reyes in the number 91 Bentley follows behind. You can see using a representing Bentley in a beautiful way, using the, I was going to say British Racing Green, but it's not quite, is it? It's a little bit too light for British Racing Green by my estimation. It's been a rough start to the season, but still not a completely unproductive one for Daniel Reyes. P19 out at Kyalami. Where was round 2 off the top of my head? It was Kyalami, and then we went to, was it Imola? Did we do it? No, Imola. Yes, it would have been Imola. Imola was round 2, wasn't it? It must have been. Hang on a minute, I'm going mad here. Races. It was Imola, right? Yeah, Imola was round 2. I honestly cannot remember casting Imola at all. Oh, I was ill, that was it. I always miss Imola. I forgot all about that. I forgot the fact I was ill. Lost all my hearing that day. Yes, but P17 in Imola and P15 last time out at Bathurst mean that 22 points currently on the board for Daniel Reyes, which is good enough for 22nd position as well. Behind him on track, Felix Pyant, the bottom place driver from the Online Racing Collective. Very, very solid start to the season in P9. Ran as high as P4 at Kyalami, but only P16 out in Imola and not appearing at Bathurst. He's making a very, very welcome return to the VGTR Challenge today. One of the 2 Honda enjoyers in the field. And he'll be hoping for another top 10 finish. We've had a couple of races now. We've had 2 of the ORC drivers in the top 10. And in fact we had 2 in a row. Or 3 in a row right now, almost. Would have had it at Kyalami, but Josh Buckwalter finishing in P11. And Josh Buckwalter and Andre Lloyd have both managed to make it into the top 10 in the last 2 races. Could we see another double top 10 finish for them today? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Behind Felix Pyant is John Gibson, I believe, returning to the series after a small 2-round absence. At Kyalami, you remember, didn't get off to the most amazing of starts. It's very unfortunate to find himself facing the wrong direction early on, and struggled to quite recover from that. Finished P22, currently sitting 33rd in the championship on 4 points. One of the contenders for livery of the season. We know, of course, that no one's going to beat Luke Mason / Anthony Camacho for that honour, but John Gibson is definitely a contender in the number 720 McLaren. You can see the lovely black and grey Union Jack on the front there, of which I'm a particular fan. Behind him on track is we're in the garage now, aren't we? Well, let's not look at that. Let's look at Roy Swaleson instead in the number 46 BMW. One of the drivers who sort of, I can't work out quite which split he was supposed to be last year, because he had the AM split colours and then the Pro split and that were competing in the pro split. So I was very, very confused as to what was going on with him. He did show very, very clean driving, very, very consistent driving, and he's got a decent turn of pace as well on a number of circuits. Has Roy Swalson finished P14, P19 and P16 in the championship races so far, 20th in the standings overall, 26 points to his name. Behind him on track at the moment is his countryman Carlo van der Henst, who made his debut last time out in the VGTR Challenge in the number 78 Lamborghini, one of only 2 Lamborghini drivers. We've never seen a Lamborghini used, I don't believe, at least on broadcast in the VGTR Challenge before the race at Bathurst, and then 2 came along at once. Carlo van der Henst and Bruno Schnell were the representatives for the Italian mark there. Carlo van der Henst finished P18 in the last race, good enough for 8 points, which means he currently sits 31st in the championship. Behind him, one of the fastest drivers here, one of the front runners. Let's face it, what we have on our hands right about now is a battle for second place in the championship, because we have Tommy Lydon doing Tommy Lydon things, and he's won all 3 races so far, and it doesn't look like he's really slowing down, if I'm being entirely honest. But one of the contenders in this lovely 5-way, 6-way really, you could say. In fact, you could argue that all the drivers down from 2nd to 9th are all fighting for second place, to be honest. But one of the contenders for sure, Leon Stablefelt here in the number 666 McLaren. The McLaren becoming a more and more popular choice this season. And Leon Stablefelt showing exactly why so far. P2 out at Kyalami, did not appear for Imola. P8 last time out after getting caught up in an incident at the start in Bathurst. He'll be hoping to put his bad luck in Australia behind him and get off to a very, very get off to a good start in his title resurgence, let's say, his runner-up resurgence. And I'm eager to see what he can do. Behind him, Jordan Monchelov, who we can talk about now since he's on track. I don't want to focus too much on him being in the pits, that's no fun. Couple of very, very good finishes in the last 2 races for Jordan Monchelov. Difficult 21st place finish at Kyalami, forgotten about very quickly. Top 10 finish in Imola, 12th place at Bathurst. It's been a solid second couple of races of the season for Jordan Monchelov, and he's currently sitting P14 in the championship off the back of that, which is a very, very good place to be. A very, very respectable position. Behind him right now, Giorgio Zacchetti, another one of our front runners, P8, having qualified P2 and gotten into the lead of the race, the only person to actually lead a race on merit without pit stops or anything other than Tommy Lydon this year. Giorgio Zacchetti made it into the lead, spun off at Kyalami, eventually finished P8. Was not to be in the end, but recovered well to actually score some points. P3 last time out at Bathurst means he's currently sat on 72 points, P6 in the championship. Behind him on track right now, you can see the number 10 Ferrari, the man who always loves it when we talk about him on broadcast and always gives us something to look at. It is Matas Sirkeskis in the representing Lithuania, as you can tell from the livery there. Solid start to the season. Bad race at Bathurst, I think it's fair to say. He wouldn't argue with that. Got a mystery drive-through penalty for reasons he's not sure of. Apparently, not quite maintaining the order properly in the formation lap, but he disagrees with it. Just, it could just be a bizarre little thing with the game. Does happen from time to time. But P12 and P8 in the opening 2 races, and of course 1 drop round, meaning that he currently sits P13 in the standings. And behind him is another one of our contenders for second place, and in fact the man currently occupying second place in the championship, and also our series founder, as we have to say every single time. Just so, I'm going to keep saying it, just so that eventually when we start charging entry fees and start having a prize pool, that we can also have a broadcaster payment pool as well, where maybe whoever is broadcasting the races and casting over them, lending their dulcet tones to all the action, might be able to get some monetary compensation for their work. Artemi Ilin, P6 at Kyalami, showed some good moves, but ultimately finished a little bit down the order. But it's been a good recovery since then. P2 and P4 in the previous 2 races mean he is the man who currently occupies P2 in the championship. behind Tommy Lydon, of course. Currently sitting P4 in practice. You can see he's definitely one of the ones to watch this race. Has to be said though, look at Giorgio Zacchetti's pace, 8/10 clear of Alex Kingston and Artemi Ilin behind. But anyway, we're getting to the end of practice now, so I'm going to stop talking about people we can ride on board with Artemi for a little bit. There he is. Steely look of determination, I assume, underneath the helmet. But for now, we'll have to settle for just waiting and watching as we wait for the last few cars to return to the pits. Not going to bother doing too much commentary here, to be honest. Not a whole lot to talk about. We're just going to watch him gradually make his way around. One last flying lap, it would seem. Coming into the chicane, latter part of the circuit now, of course. This is the bit that's a little bit easier in the wet, which of course is what the drivers are going to be facing. It's just straights and hairpins. It's not too bad. It's the first sector and a half really that you need to look out for, I think, at Donnington, to be honest. Maybe first 2 sectors in total. Third sector, pretty nice. I'm a fan in the wet. Now coming through the final corner, coming through Goddard's, out onto the home straight. What kind of time is it going to be in the drive for Artemi Ilin? It's a 1:28.49. Not quite an improvement. Very, very consistent lap times though. One man left out on the circuit. It is Jacob Bisson. And never mind, before I can even cut him, the session is over.
Go.
And it's, as you can see, the downpour has begun. Welcome to Lake Donnington. Who is this who's gone out on track? Who is it? Who's out first? Oh, it's Carlo van der Hens. So let's follow him around as we can see just what the grip is like as we ride on board. Now, I'll tell you what they need to look out for. When I drove on the practice server, it was a little bit wetter than this. It looks like it's very greasy out there right now, but doesn't quite look like it's as much of a deluge sight to face. Still through here, the drivers have to be very, very careful. Coming out of turn 4 here, it's very easy to take a little bit too much speed in, get a little bit too punchy on the throttle because you do have room on the outside. That can be very tempting, but as you can see, Carlo van Hens, consummate professional, handles it very, very nicely, braking nicely into turn 6. Another one just as you crest over the hill there, can be very, very, very easy to drop the car. Nothing happening. Probably the most entertaining corner in the wet, trying to apply as much throttle as possible, feathering the wheel to try and straighten up as much as possible. Probably the most enjoyable one, the biggest challenge without being impossible, that corner. Coming into the final sector now, towards the chicane, the S's. Well handled from Carlo van der Hens on his outlap, of course. And then down into the Melbourne hairpin, going a little bit deep. This is the sort of easier section. The challenge really here, for people who only have one monitor, is that when you're turning into the Melbourne hairpin, you cannot see the corner. You're turning it completely blind, depending on FOV settings. I know that a lot of the drivers choose to operate quite a low field of view, so it could be that they are going to struggle a little bit. Now, you see in the background, we have some battling going on. We're going to cycle through some of these drivers and just talk about them. You can see the times as they come in. You know, we'll try and cut back to Carlo van der Hens in time. But here's Matas Sidikesis and Artemi Ilin going side by side. You see Matas going a little bit wide there, Artemi Ilin taking advantage. There's Bruno Schnell. Oh, his livery is actually loaded. I didn't expect that to work. Oh, well, there's a pleasant surprise. Oh, it's not entirely worked. Okay, it hasn't quite entirely worked. He did send me his livery, but I couldn't quite work out how it was packaged in a weird way. I couldn't quite work it out. Carlo van der Hens, I think, has gone off. Yes, there he is. You can see at the top of your picture there. Bruno Schnell, the other, returning to the series, a veteran from seasons past, made his re-debut out at Bathurst. Didn't make it past lap 1. Got caught up in an incident, but finally returned to the series, and what a pleasure it is to have him back. Behind him, another veteran of the series, and one of the lovely people who lends their time every week to helping the series run as smoothly as possible. Peter Kramers, also one of the drivers who we need to keep our eyes on for this battle for second place, ordinarily. It's been a horribly unlucky season for Peter Kramers so far. P13 last time out at Bathurst, P10 at Kyalami after getting involved in an incident that was in no way his fault. So hopefully we can see a turnaround in his fortunes, as he is definitely one of the fastest drivers. Always call him the gatekeeper of the front of the pack, because always sticks with them. Very, very clean, very, very consistent, and typically is, if you're faster than Peter Kramer's, you are a front-running driver. Artemian is going to be the first driver to cross the line, however. Going to come across the line with a 1:33.7. Is that good? We'll find out. There's Luke Mason. We'll talk about him in a second. But before that, we've got Bruno Schnell come across the line. Not setting a lap time, though, of course. Trying to find anybody else who is setting a lap time, but it's very, very difficult because we have loads of cars in the pits, which I have to keep flicking through in order to look at anybody else. But let's instead talk about the winner of the Best Livery of the Season award for last season, and the man who looks like he's probably the favourite to win it this season as well as being the only man to actually win a race with last season's champion David Mitchell on track, and the only man to beat David Mitchell in qualifying. Luke Mason has, you could argue, more VGTR pedigree than any other driver in the series. P3 in the opening race at Kyalami, followed by P6 last time out. I mean, he currently sits 4th in the championship, so obviously 3rd in the race for runner-up. Behind him on track at the moment, Bruno Schnell, Leon Staplefeld we've spoken about. Another one of the ORC drivers, the last one to talk about today, Andre Lloyd. I remember first race of the season for Andre Lloyd, second race of the season, sorry, for Andre Lloyd last time out. I didn't get to cover Imola, where he finished P6, finished P7 last time. Was a little bit unlucky. Backmarkers got caught up in his battles, could have finished P6. Got into a good battle with his countryman, Justin Moffat, and actually got overtaken by Luke Mason at the end as well. Very, very good battles with both of them. Andre Lloyd has a knack for, I said in the last race, he has a knack for having all the chaos happen around him and just picking his way through very, very carefully, not getting caught up in it, and finishing in a very, very good position because of it. And sure enough, at Bathurst, everything happened on lap 1. Huge pile-up. Andre Lloyd drove straight through it all and was up with the front runners immediately. And that's basically, you should watch out for the same today. He's very, very quick, and somehow still managed to outperform his qualifying in most races. How is he in the wet? We don't know. I've never had to cast a wet VGTR race before. Although it's only damp at the moment. The track is going to improve, which means this is going to be one of the most interesting qualifying sessions we've had for a while. Behind Andre Lloyd, Giorgio Zacchetti, who we've already spoken about. Don't need to talk about him anymore. And Jordan Monstrol. Jacob Bisson, the man who every time I cut to him, something happens, he has a crash, goes off circuit. Jacob, I'm going to leave you alone. Get on with your lap. I don't want to interrupt. Martin Kuba, our opening round winner in the M2 Cup. Our M2 Cup Championship leader, I think, until the last race yesterday. And also our runner-up in Season 1 of the VGTR Challenge. Currently sitting P10 in the standings. P5 at Imola was a very, very good result for him. Looks like he's back after a season where he only competed at some of the races last year and didn't quite compete at the front like he did in Season 1. Looks like he's back a little bit this year. P5 in Imola. P11 last time out, a little bit unlucky perhaps. I'm very, very curious to see where he ends up today. Currently sitting P11, but no doubt as the track improves, he'll be hoping he can improve his time as well. There's Josh Buckwalter, who we've spoken about, and Jacob Bisson, who's somehow ended up behind. Okay, John Gibson in P5 at the moment, clearly enjoying himself in the wet. Peter Kramer, as we've spoken about as well. Christopher Qualls making his return to the VGTR Challenge. Another one of our beloved American drivers today, I believe. Christopher Qualls. I need to double check that actually. Unfortunately, I cannot find him anywhere on this. Yes, P23 in the championship at the moment. Did race at Imola, P12 on that occasion, but of course, I wasn't there to see it, so as far as I'm concerned, it didn't happen. Currently sitting P21 in the standings, having not set a valid lap time yet. I'm very interested to see what he can do. P12 was a solid first result, but of course he's missed 2 rounds of the championship, which means he's currently languishing in P23 in the championship overall. As I see Carlo Fantapensa has gone off, you can see on the minimap there, as well as Mata Sidakerskis, I believe, who brought out a yellow flag very, very briefly. So yes, I'm curious to see what Christopher Qualls can do today. Alex Kingston, Another one of the drivers we need to talk about because he was P2 and by far and away the driver closest to Tommy Lydon last time out of Bathurst. And really, Alex Kingston looks like the man who could be most likely to challenge Tommy Lydon for his title. The only problem is, of course, he missed the opening 2 rounds of the season. P2 is still enough for him to be P12 in the standings overall right now on 49 points. Currently sitting P3 in qualifying, half a second away from Artemi Ilin. He'll be hoping again that as the track dries up, he'll be putting his times in at the right time. It doesn't look like we have any rain on the horizon as we see number 33. That is Andre Lloyd having a little bit of an off at the end of the home straight. Martin Kuba we've spoken about, Leon Staplefoot we've spoken about. Have we missed anyone so far? I think we might have gone almost everyone, apart from, of course, our championship leader, Tommy Lydon, the man from Poland who has won all 3 of our races so far. Won all 3 of our races so far and in pretty dominant fashion. There's 1 lap in the entire series that he has not led, and that was the second lap at Kyalami when Giorgio Zacchetti was able to just slightly move ahead for the duration of the lap before spinning off at the end. Of course, Tommy Lydon in the Nissan GTR, the only Nissan GTR user in the field, making it look like a damn good pick, even though judging by the pick rate elsewhere it probably isn't. Moxturks returning to the series once again. Was not present, I believe, last time out at Bathurst. Also was not at Imola. First return to the series for him since Kyalami, where he finished P24. Currently sitting 35th in the championship. Further back, we also have... Is that everybody? Have we covered everybody? Can I stop talking now? I believe we might have. Oh, hang on a minute. Look who's joined the server. Rikinel Dalka, another one of our host of Dutch drivers for today. He is currently set P24 in the championship in the Porsche 911 there. 15th and 20th, his 2 last results. And I think a driver who I would keep my eyes on him and Moxturks. The Porsche is notoriously difficult to handle, and in the wet, I dare say, it's not going to be getting any easier. Behind him, I also saw someone else join the server. Where are they? Someone very important. Oh, he's in the pits. In the white Ferrari there. That's Mohammed Irfan, my personal pick for second in the championship overall. Sorry, Artemi. P5 and P3 in the opening 2 races. The only man who really looked like he might have been able to challenge an on-form David Mitchell at Solder last year. Mohammed Irfan, all the way from Indonesia, joining us today. One of the fastest drivers we have. Other drivers that I haven't covered yet, Fabrizio Barberato is back, Daniel Reyes as well. We'll get to them at some point. Anyway, let's see people cross the line. Rose Wilson comes across the line. Enough for 15th for the time being for him. Matas will be home to improve his time. He does. Goes P6. Solid start for Matas. John Gibson slipped down the order gradually. Long last lap, doesn't improve on this one. Giorgio Zacchetti will be hoping to get further up the order, currently behind Alex Kingston and Peter Kramer as he dives into the pits instead. Rikinel Dalka coming across the line. Is he setting his first lap? I don't know. He might be. Comes across the line. No, it was an out lap. Bruno Schnell comes across the line. 134.5. That's good enough for P10. And now we've got everybody coming across the line. Artemi Ilin fails to improve. 2 minutes 6 second lap is not what he'd been hoping for. The problem is with the positioning of the start-finish straight at Donnington, I cannot watch people come across the line one at a time because I have to keep flicking through people in the pits. This track is an absolute disaster of a design. We can have a look, however, as Mohammed Irfan, Tommy Lydon and Alex Kingston, in my view, the 3 fastest drivers in the championship, all come out of, in terms of pure pace at least, they all come out of the pits at the same time. Mohammed Irfan doing a little bit of playing dirt rally a little bit there on the outside of turn 1. So you see number 720, that is, off the top of my head, Martin Kuba. John Gibson, damn it. Martin Kuba's 420, there we go. Goes off the track at somewhere down the straight. So I assume that's maybe just a wanting to return to the pits situation. Number 19, Artemi Ilin, also going off in the same area. We have Carlo van der Henst off the track. These incidents happening faster than I can cut to, and then drivers are just instantly resetting back to the pits. Such is the nature of qualifying in sim racing. So apologies if you wanted to see some incidents today, but it's not going to happen. Instead, we're going to follow these three drivers out on their laps because they are the three most important drivers in the series, you could argue. Tommy Lydon, Alex Kingston, and Mohammed Irfan. I'm very curious to see what they do. We're right on board with Tommy Lydon for a little bit. Oh my god, that's a horrendous angle. With most of the cars, you can actually see quite a lot out of the windscreen, and it's cool to be able to see their inputs as well. You see very, very deep line to get a straight in exit from the final corner as possible, Tommy Lydon. Instead, we're going to ride on board with him here, and let's see what he does as he goes around hoping to set a flying lap and knock our current pole sitter, Alex Kingston, off of his perch. Very clean through turn one, no dramas whatsoever. You can hardly even tell it's wet. It's only greasy really at the moment, according to our little tracker up in the top right. Down through the crane of curves into the old hairpin. Very, very well held together. You see using the runoff area on the outside of the circuit, but crucially staying very, very neatly within the lines. Into McLean's now, the right-hander here up over the crest of the hill. Not causing any dramas whatsoever. Very easy for the car to become light and switch directions on you, but not catching out our series leader so far, the number 999 Nissan GTR. Coming out of Coppice now onto the Starkey Straight. Going high speed down towards the S's, braking late, perfectly timed, taking plenty of curb on both, but keeping it all nice and legal. Not going to be any stewards' inquiries about this lap so far, one would believe, into the Melbourne hairpin. Slowing right down, probably the lowest speed you'll see from a VGTR Challenge car this year, unless you know it's Matas and he's stuck in a wall. And into the final corner now, out of Goddard's comes Tommy Lydon, hoping to set a good lap time. What's it going to be? Is it going to be enough for P1? It is a 1:31.2. Alex Kingston following him. It's an invalid lap, but it's a 1:33.6. He's away off the pace. Andre Lloyd is behind. Somehow Mohammed Irfan hasn't even made it round yet, which will be very disconcerting for him. Andre Lloyd's going to come across the line though with a 1:33.3. Matas comes along stride with a 2:38. No improvement there. Luke Mason improves up to P3. Royce Wilson fails to improve, as does Martin Kuba. Bruno Schnell's going to be next to cross the line. It's currently sitting P13, a good qualifying for Bruno Schnell, but he'll be hoping that he can improve it even more. He's about to come across the line. Will it be any improvement for him? It will not. 4-minute lap is not the way to go. Carlo van der Hens hoping to improve 3.5 minutes. That was probably an outlap in hindsight. Peter Kramers, what can he do? Also an outlap. Jordan Momchalov, please, somebody set a valid lap time. I'm begging you. Is this valid? Yes, this is a valid lap time from Leon Staplefeld. Right, 1:33.3 to beat. One of the fastest drivers in the series. He'll be hoping to lift himself towards that top 3. What's it going to be for Leon Staplefeld? Is it going to be enough? Yes, 3rd place for Leon Staplefeld. Jacob Bisson on an outlap. That is not a valid lap at all. Artemi Ilin getting very, very shaky out of the final corner. He'll be disappointed with that. What kind of lap times are going to be? It's a 1:32.1. It is an improvement. He goes P5. Felix Pyatt now across the line, 1:33.4. Enough for the top 10. Josh Buckwalter almost joins him. Less than a tenth separating the two ORC drivers. Giorgio Zacchetti going ahead now. 1:32.3 to beat. Can he go even faster still? Yes, he does. P3 for Giorgio Zacchetti as Mohammed Irfan begins his lap. Alex Kingston's off the track, and now John Gibson going to come around the final corner. We've got 3 minutes left of this qualifying session. The track is getting drier with every passing minute. Now, what's it going to be as John Gibson comes off the line? It's only a 1:49. He'll be home to improve. Andre Lloyd currently sitting, look at the ORC drivers, 9th, 10th, 11th, less than a tenth separating them. Can Andre Lloyd pull clear of his teammates? No, he can't. Christopher Qualls wanting to set a valid lap time. He does not. 9 minutes on that one. That's probably an outlap as well. Royce Wilson, 1:35.1. It's good enough for P16 for him. Martin Kuba now coming across the line. He'll be home to improve, but only a 1:39. Perhaps an incident on that lap. Matas Sidekerskis in P7 at the moment. He can go higher. Only a 1:48 for the time being. Bruno Schnell round back again. P12 improving yet again. Bruno Schnell. Carlo van der Hens does improve by a whole 2 seconds. P14 for Carlo van der Hens. Peter Kramers fails to improve. Jordan Momchalov also fails to improve. Tommy Lydon 1:31.2 to beat. He is less than a tenth up on Alex Kingston at the top of the standings. He cannot improve either. 2:28. He's had an instant. Mock Stokes with an 11-minute lap. That's not what we'd like to see. Leon Staplefeld also failing to improve. Artemi Ilin now Oh my goodness, it is all going the VGTR Challenge, ladies and gentlemen. Arsenal with 132.1 to beat. He goes into the 131s, 131.9 for him. Luke Mason cannot dip into the 131s himself. Josh Buckwalter and Felix Pyatt, the two ORC drivers, come across the line. Josh Buckwalter improves. Felix Pyatt left in P11. Still only 7 tenths clear of his teammates now. Josh Buckwalter. Giorgio Zacchetti doesn't improve. Mohamed Irfan gonna say his first lap time. It's not valid. It's only 134. He'll be very, very disappointed with this so far. He is not looking quick at the moment, Mohamed Irfan. I spent so long hyping him up, and for what? John Gibson going to come across the line. 133 dead for John Gibson. It's a top 10 start. What an absolute result for him. He'll be over the moon with his performance in qualifying. The only problem is it's a wet race. Who knows how much qualifying matters? 133.2 for Andre Lloyd. Good enough to keep himself P11. It's an improvement, but it's not enough. 3 minutes 22 for Alex Kingston as Roy Swelson improves yet again. Everyone's coming across the line, improving the lap times as the track gets drier and drier. Martin Kuber improves, Matas Cidakakis fails to. Peter Kramer's clinging on to his top 10 position at the moment, but you imagine that drivers down there, Andre Lloyd, Felix Pyatt, Mohamed Irfan, will all be improving, so Peter Kramer's will want to put in a fast lap here. It's not enough to put himself further up the order, and Jordan Momclov has spun out on the final corner, goes into the pit lane with that spin, just getting a couple wheels on the grass, I think, on the exit there. Tommy Lydon currently sitting P2. Matas Cidakakis is on pole at the moment. Tommy Lydon cannot improve to a point where he is on top. Moxtux comes across the line. Leon Staplefeld and Jordan Momclov come together. I think Jordan might have to face a little bit of a smooth inquiry there. That was not a safe rejoin by any stretch of the imagination. Artemi Ilin able to improve a little bit. Luke Mason also getting down to a 131 dead. Matas is on absolute fire right now. Felix Pyatt fails to improve. Josh Buckwalter will be hoping to lift himself even further up the order. Can he do it? No, he cannot. Giorgio Zacchetti as well. Does go fastest overall. Mohamed Irfan now P3 in total. He's finally got himself up on the board. And now we're seeing the quality that these drivers show. Tommy Lydon stranded down in P6. He'll need to improve if he wants to have a good chance of maintaining his momentum in this championship. John Gibson, very, very consistent. Another 133 dead lap as the clock hits 0 in qualifying. And he'll get one more chance. Andre Lloyd will not, however. He will need this lap to count. What's it going to be? 132.6, only good enough for P12. Alex Kingston goes on pole with a 130.1, almost dipping down into the sub 130 territory. Martin Kuber now coming across the line. 131.5 for him, lifts himself into P8, our season 1 runner-up. Matas Cidakakis pulls into the pits. He will have to settle for P3 at best today. Peter Kramer's now 132.1 to beat, to improve. He's out of the top 10, as I suggested he would be, but he gets himself right back in there with a 130.8. It is a fantastic lap from Peter Kramer's, and it's good enough for P5 for the time being. What a way to start this race off for him. Moxtux now. He's going to go straight off the circuit. He's not going to have that lap counting. Luke Mason briefly on pole with his 131 dead. He'll need to improve as well. Could be on pole position if he's quick enough, and he does. 129.8 for Luke Mason. On home soil, the Brit takes pole position provisionally, but there's still drivers to come. Felix Pyatt fails to improve enough to get himself into pole position. Josh Buckwalter does improve a little bit. Giorgio Zacchetti doesn't improve enough to get himself up the order. And there's so many drivers here, I cannot keep up. And the last one to come across the line is going to be number 88, which is Bruno Schnell. What can he do? It's going to be an improvement for Bruno Schnell. That's P14 for him, and that means that your grid is decided. And here they are. Luke Mason starts on pole position. Tommy Lydon all the way down in P8. He'll have to fight his way through the pack today. Alex Kingston P2, Mohamed Irfan P3, Giorgio Zacchetti and Matas Cidakakis round out the top 5. Peter Kramer's rounds out row 3. Artemi Ilin will start alongside series leader Tommy Lydon. The top 2 in the championship down on row 4. Martin Kuber alongside Felix Pyatt, and look how wet it is out there. Felix Pyatt in P10. Leon Staplefeld and Josh Buckwalter on row 6. Row 7, Andre Lloyd and Bruno Schnell. John Gibson and Roy Swelson on row 8. Jordan Momclov, who might be facing a penalty for his actions there, trying to rejoin onto the main straight, alongside Colin van Hens on row 9. Row 10 is Jacob Bisson and Moxtux. Fabrizio Barbierato, Daniel Reyes and Christopher Coles all failed to set a lap time. I am going to very quickly go grab a drink, and then I'll be rejoining you for the race. Alright, I'm back. Hello, 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 hello. 10 seconds before we kick off here. And let's have a look at what we've got. Let's cut away to the front. There we are. Luke Mason will start on pole position. And we're going to do something that I discovered yesterday. Let's have a little look around this car, shall we? Matching the inside with the outside, this lovely green stuff. And you'll notice there's real text on most of these. On some of the high detail models, you can see real text written down them. There's an AI that they use to generate a lot of it. But I'm trying to find some more because I had a lot of fun with this in the M2 Cup yesterday. Does the Ferrari have anything down here? Absolutely nothing of any detail. You can see, look how detailed all this is. Bloody hell. You never see any of this stuff, and yet they've modelled it all. You can see there's Alex Kingston working away on the pedals. Anyway, enough messing about now. As you can see, the track conditions right now are best described as fucking wet. Welcome to Lake Donnington, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between or indeed outside of those terms. We're inclusive here at the VGTR Challenge, as you very well know. Oh, definitely going to need a drink for this one. And you see the drivers are tentatively making their way around. Of course, a big storyline today, the driver to keep your eye on. This man. Normally, he doesn't get a lot of screen time because he gets to the front of the grid and then he pisses off into the distance and wins. But now Tommy Lydon, disastrous qualifying by his standards, all the way down in P8. Other notable performers, Martin Kuba, good performance to get himself up into P9. Leon Staplefeld, a bit far down for his liking in P11. Josh Buckwalter as well, and Andre Lloyd might be disappointed to start outside the top 10, not even qualifying for the ORC. Bruno Schnell and John Gibson, I believe, both deserve a bit of a shout out for their performances in qualifying. Curious to see how they do in the wet here. Carlo van der Henst also ahead of a few, I was about to say ahead of a few drivers, and I realised none of them, I think, set a lap time, which, so never mind. But anyway, I'm curious to see how these drivers cope with the very, very tricky conditions. It is Luke Mason on pole position. Again, as I said, got two of the three fastest drivers in the series behind him. Of all the others, I'd say Luke Mason is the best positioned of every other driver to lift himself up into this upper echelon of the VGTR Challenge. He is a real talent, the man in the number 808 Audi. As they come across the line here, you'll see two drivers in the pits. Carlo van der Henst hasn't left the pits, as well as Moxox has returned to the pits, and car number 1, which I believe is Brickenell Dalka, hasn't made it into the pits. We have an all-British front row here at Donnington Park, but we're ready to get it underway. We're about to kick this race off. The green flags are going to be flown any moment. Watch the man in the box there on the right-hand side. He'll wave it eventually, I promise. There we go. The green flags are waving. We're underway for round number 3 of season 3 of the GT3 series at the VGTR Challenge. All clean as we go into the first corner. We'll flick through the field, look for any drama, but it doesn't look like anything's forthcoming at the moment. One driver's gone wide. That's Alex Kingston, losing positions at the start. Immediately, Mohamed Irfan takes the position up into P2, and Matas Sidakerskis currently occupying P3. Good start for Matas. 2 positions made up. Luke Mason trying to defend all he can from Mohamed Irfan at the moment. We're going to scroll back through the field, see if we can see anything happening as they come through turn 4, the old hairpin. But it looks like it's all relatively clean so far. Let's cut back to the front. Luke Mason now coming out of the first sector, up through the hill, turn 6, over the crest. Well controlled so far. The man from the United Kingdom has watched his countryman get left for dead at the start. Somehow Carlo van der Henst has managed to get a 30-second stop-go penalty. God knows what for. The race has only just begun. But right now, all that matters is that we have Luke Mason. Look at Tommy Lydon already up into P5. It's a good start from the man from Poland. But nobody's gotten a better start than the leader of this race, Luke Mason. Through the hairpin, are we going to see any dramas? We see Andre Lloyd has dropped down to P14. He'll be unhappy with himself for that. Everybody else seems to have gotten through relatively cleanly. No chaos to speak of on the opening lap. It is remarkably clean. And we have one driver around, number 126, as Giorgio Zacchetti's gone round, just as I pan away. Giorgio Zacchetti's off the track, number 77, Alex Kingston has gone again. What's going on back there? Look out for the name. Where are they? Alex Kingston, Giorgio Zacchetti getting tangled up, it would appear. I didn't quite catch what happened. You see Alex Kingston just trying to recover his car. That is a disaster for two of the front runners in this series. Horrible start. Alex Kingston started in P2. He ends lap 1 in P22. And he will be very, very unhappy with how that's panned out for him. Luke Mason way out in front at the start. Matas Sidakerskis in P2. An absolute flyer of a first lap for him. Started, I believe, in P5, if I'm not mistaken. Already up into P2. Great performance from Matas, which we absolutely love to see. Got his first ever podium in the VGTR Challenge yesterday in the M2 Cup, riding that high all the way into the GT3 Series. Tommy Lydon ominously already in P3, Artemi Ilin equally ominously already in P4. Those two are the two frontrunners in the championship at the moment, even if I believe that Mohammed Irfan and Alex Kingston do belong in that echelon as well. Mohammed Irfan also dropping way back. I'll point out he's down in P11. Don't know what happened to him either. We need to keep our eyes on the front runners from now on. We see some drama happening at the back. We're going to move away from these two for the time being, Artemi and getting a little bit squirrely under braking behind Tommy Lydon there. But nothing too bad happening. It seems like into the Melbourne hairpin here is where most of the drama could happen. Not too much happening here though. We see at the back we have a little pack of cars. Could we see a move here? Mohammed Irfan manoeuvring around behind Andre Lloyd. Andre Lloyd getting up very close to the back of John Gibson there, but no silly moves happening here. These drivers are consummate professionals. And look at the two RRC drivers there, the other two. Andre Lloyd has gone ahead of his teammates here. As usual, Andre Lloyd started down the field, already back up into the top 10 because he didn't spin off, didn't make any mistakes. It's a classic Andre Lloyd drive. It's just what he does. Phoenix Pyan and Josh Buckwalter, meanwhile, squabbling for P13 at the moment. And look at them side by side. I have to say, I know I'm British and everything, so I'm used to it, but this weather looks really, really nice. It looks refreshing to be out there. I'm in my very, very warm apartment right now. I wish I was here in real life. Fabrizio Barbierato chose not to qualify. Perhaps a wise decision, because he's managed to make up to P15, but he's going to be relegated down a few spots there. You see Giorgio Zacchetti trying to get his recovery drive going here. We have a number of drivers fighting at the back of the grid here. We have one driver off ahead. Who is it? That's John Gibson travelling slowly. He might have dropped a few positions. He was running P8. He seems to have dropped at least 3 positions there. Unfortunate from the Scot, but it's going to be P11 for the time being for him. Alex Kingston here moving to the inside of Fabrizio Barbierato. They make contact and they both go off the circuit. I don't know if that was a little bit hasty from Alex Kingston. I think we'd have to watch an onboard to get a view of that. No doubt the stewards will have a view later, but Alex Kingston very, very gentlemanly moving out the way. I dare say he won't be very proud of his action there. He's a generally very, very clean driver. We have Matas now having to defend from Tommy Lydon. This is where I think the most likely move on track is going to be. This is a horrible race to observe, let me tell you. Matas going wide at the Melbourne hairpin. He's going to go off the track as well. He will have the inside unless Tommy Lydon gets a fantastic exit, and Tommy Lydon does on board with Matas. Now you can see, look how bad the visibility is when you're stuck behind another car. This is going to be the big disadvantage for him, but Tommy Lydon able to get himself up into P2 already. Artemi Ilin's actually going to have a look at Matas as well here. They're going to be side by side as they come down through the first sector, and Artemi Ilin, I think Matas backing out a little bit there, knows he was forced offline, wanting to just keep his position as I think Jacob Bisson's gone off at the end of the lap, and also number 88 Bruno Schnell I think has gone off as well. Number 73 Jordan Momchalov seems to be a big incident at the back of the pack. Let's cut forward, see what we can see. Jordan Momchalov is off track. Who else is that? Bruno Schnell, indeed it was those two. See, I know my numbers, I can look on the minimap and find out what's going on. Some incident between Jordan Momchalov and Bruno Schnell there. And that's cost a few positions for both of them. They were having good races, Bruno Schnell especially. Difficult first race at Bathurst, of course, but a solid start to his time at Donnington. And Carlo van der Hens rear-ending his fellow Lamborghini there. It's not going to matter. We have a driver off ahead, number 33. That's Andre Lloyd. No! Oh no! Andre Lloyd. He is human. He does make mistakes occasionally. I don't know what happened here, but Andre Lloyd's going to rejoin in a slightly bizarre manner as well. Does just get out of the way of Jordan Momchalov. Going to try and hold the position, but Jordan has too much speed. And Andre Lloyd is going to drop another position. Jacob Bisson's gone off at the back of the pack there. What a disaster for Andre Lloyd. I can't wait to see his recovery drive. I'm sure he's got something up his sleeve. But that's... I can't lie. This is like when this is like seeing Guan Yu Zhou break down for me. This is the same level of tragic. I know I have to be an unbiased commentator. I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a few favourites, and Andre Lloyd's performances have definitely made him one of them, and I'm very, very sad to see him down in P16, but I'm curious to see what he can do from here. Let's go back to the front now, because look what's happening. Tommy Lydon has already caught up the gap to Luke Mason. As talented as the man from the United Kingdom may be, he has got a very, very worrying pair of drivers behind him. Tommy Lydon looking pretty quick right now, but crucially also look at Artemi Ilin not letting Tommy Lydon get away. Artemi Ilin, who says said he was quite relatively comfortable in the wet. Unusual display of confidence from Artemi Ilin, who's usually very humble about his chances before the race, and then goes out to get a very, very good result. This time, seemed pretty confident from my estimation. Bruno Schnell's off the track again on at the somewhere in the first sector. Sorry, just at the beginning of the second sector actually. But Artemi Ilin right now putting in a very, very good race, keeping up with Tommy Lydon beautifully, and we could see a little battle, three-way battle for the lead here. Because I tell you what, Luke Mason, he's not going to be giving over that position very, very easily. And Tommy Lydon, he may be quicker, but catching Luke Mason is one thing, overtaking him is another thing altogether. And I tell you what, I don't think you could have chosen a more interesting three drivers. Look at the background. Peter Kramers has gone wide at the hairpin. And Matas Sidikers is able to get himself up into P4. I think Luke Mason's gone a little bit wide in turn 1. Tommy Lydon just getting out of the way in time. Could have been a collision there. Wise driving from the pole. You see Artemi Ilin also losing a little bit of time now. I think Carlo van der Hent appearing from the pit lane couldn't have helped with that. Number 73, that's Jordan Momchalov, has gone off at the hairpin. We'll just have a little look, see what's happened here. Andre Lloyd again. What's going on? He's had another collision with Jordan Momchalov. They came close just after the first incident, and now they've had another one. Number 78 is off the track as well. I can't remember who that is for the life of me. It's Carlo van der Hent, just come out the pits, just done his pit stop. Now let's get back to the front, because we've got to get back to this action. I love motorsports. Oh my god, can we have a wet race every week? I'm sure none of the drivers are going to be agreeing with that sentiment, but this is great fun. Look at the pack of drivers in the background as well. If we just maybe choose a different camera angle, you might be able to see them. But look at this pack on the minimap, from Matas Sidikers all the way down to Mohamed Irfan, 4th to 8th, all in one big line, very, very close together. This is the best race we've had in the season so far, and what a title, what ramifications for the title this could be. Anyone other than Tommy Lydon getting a win could throw a real spanner in the works, and Tommy Lydon has proven this weekend that even though he is by far the fastest driver we've ever had in the VGTR Challenge, even faster than David Mitchell, he's not infallible. He does make mistakes. Recovers from them ridiculously well, but he does make them from time to time. Let's ride on board with our championship leader. See what he sees out of his windscreen right about now. The answer is not a whole lot of anything. He can vaguely see through the spray the number 808 Audi of Luke Mason. However, that's still causing some visibility issues. You can just hear. You need to listen as we go through the next couple of corners to the throttle. Look how gentle it is. And you see how he's being so gentle, he's still catching Luke Mason. It shows just how tentative these drivers are having to be. And look, meanwhile, I was looking away. Artemi Ilin might have a go up the inside of Tommy Lydon here. He might do it. Up the inside into turn 7. Artemi Ilin and Tommy Lydon side by side. And Artemi Ilin gets by. And we are back to having a British 1-2 as number 126, Giorgio Zacchetti, is off the track again in the second sector. But we don't want to cut away from this action for a second. Now that's done. Let's have a look at this pack in the background. The two almost identical McLarens of Peter Kramers and Leon Staplefelt there battling, and Mohamed Irfan's gone off. He's outbraked himself. He's gone through the gravel at the S's, and that's a disaster for him. He's trying to get past Martin Kuba, but tried to force the move, but it wasn't happening in the end for him. Artemi Ilin now going to be having a look at trying to get past Luke Mason right on board with our series founder now. A British 1-2 we have at Donnington Park in the most British of weathers. Happy days for all of our UK viewers right now. But the problem is Tommy Lydon. He'll want to spoil the party a little bit right about now, and still cannot count him out in any way. But what a view this is! Look at it's absolutely stunning view with this weather, has to be said. Out the front of this car, Artemi Ilin gradually catching up to the back of Luke Mason's Audi. The question is, can he go for the same move he did last time? He's actually pulling a little bit away from Tommy Lydon. Might be able to go for a move into P7 if Luke Mason does not get a good exit here. The question is, what is it going to be? I think there is a slight closing in speed, but Luke Mason, too aware of this, goes a little bit defensive, but goes wide on the exit. Hang on a minute, this could be it. Artemi Ilin. Luke Mason's made a slight mistake, and Artemi Ilin has taken advantage. Artemi Ilin has moved into the lead of the race, but for how long? Because they're side by side going down the straight. This could be an immediate switch of positions. Luke Mason gonna dive down the inside. He holds the position. That is absolutely stunning from Luke Mason. Late braking, but on the exit he's compromised. Artemi Ilin's going to come straight back. Down the straight, into the Melbourne hairpin. Tommy Lydon around in the background. Luke Mason taking a wide line, but Artemi Ilin has got it. Slight contact. Tommy Lydon not able to get himself up the field. But Artemi Ilin now could still be under pressure into the final corner here. Luke Mason takes the inside line. Artemi Ilin goes wide. Luke Mason's off the track. Luke Mason spun. And Tommy Lydon and Artemi Ilin are side by side going down the main straight. This is the best half a lap of racing we've ever had in the VGTR Challenge. Artemi Ilin gonna take the inside line. I think the battle has finally come to an end. A whole half a lap, most of the lap. These drivers spent side by side. Luke Mason, good recovery to retain P3 for the time being, and deserves a big round of applause for his defence there. It was clean, it was fair, and unfortunately for him, it didn't quite pan out the way he would have wanted, but what a driver he is. Artemi Ilin and Tommy Lydon now. Look at this battle for the lead. Tommy Lydon's getting a little bit shaky there, out of turn 4, coming out of turn 5 even. Coming out of turn 5, getting a little bit shaky. You see going a little bit onto the grass. That would be worrying for him. He won't like that one bit. Artemi Ilin, meanwhile, looking pretty imperious at the top right now, but he's going to be under pressure for the foreseeable future. And now he doesn't have the conspicuous Luke Mason-shaped barrier between himself and the championship leader, the man who has been in control of this championship since the very first wheel was turned. Whew. I need a drink. As you can see, they're pretty damn close together. We could have another move on our hands. Let's have a look. On board with Tommy Lydon right about now. Because he'll no doubt be wanting to make this move sooner rather than later. You see Artemi and trying to go defensive. The only problem is he cuts across, and oh my goodness, Tommy Lydon's been spun. Oh, this could be a problem here. Tommy Lydon's gone round. Luke Mason's going to come across into the main straight, and Tommy Lydon facing the wrong way. He's just going to think, okay, this is my cue to take my pit stop, and then he comes with his very interesting livery. He's going to come take his pit stop. I see Rick and Eldalka, who didn't even start the race, I don't think. He's back there as well. And, well, this means we've got a lead for Artemi Ilin, but the question is, what will the stewards say about that? I think if I was judging that, again, I would need to see a lot more replays, but at first glance, that could be a racing incident. I think it's very, very unfortunate for Tommy Lydon, but I think with this little grip, when touches like that happen, something like that is very, very possible. And I think we'll have to see what kind of movements Artemi Ilin makes. If he was constant, he'll get away with it just fine. If he turned across, then maybe, who knows what we might see. But anyway, our lovely stewards, John Gibson's one of them, Peter Kramer's, Abe Santema, I think the last series is runner-up. Sadly couldn't join us for this series, has other commitments, actually has a life. Very, very selfish of him. As Roy Svelson goes off track, he's going to try and recover himself. And you see Alex Kingston also just having an absolute nightmare of a race. He's gone off track as well. Those two not having the best of times through the old hairpin there on the exit. I did say, I told Artemi and John Gibson in the voice call the other day, I said, I'm in real trouble coming out of the old hairpin. They're going, oh, how are you going off there? How are you going off at turn 4? See, it's not just me, guys. Everybody's suffering. Anyway, but yes, all of our lovely stewards will no doubt be taking a look as Christopher Qualls goes through, does some rally driving there, makes contact with Tommy Lydon. Oh my goodness, the recovery drive is not starting the way that Tommy Lydon would have wanted. As we're going to see, is there any damage on that Nissan GTR? It doesn't look like there's anything other than perhaps superficial damage from a first glance. So Tommy Lydon might have gotten away with that one, but still not ideal for his hopes of recovery. Now, let's focus here, because you see Leon Staplefeld under big pressure from Matas Sitakeskis. Matas could go for the move up the inside here into the old hairpin. Leon Staplefeld forced to take a slightly wider line, goes off track. Matas Sitakeskis piling the pressure on absolutely beautifully. He's going to go round the outside, and he manages it. Wonderful move from Matas. Mohamed Irfan around in the background, not able to follow his fellow Ferrari driver through. For the time being, though, Leon Staplefeld has to settle for P4. Matas takes the final podium spot away from him. Meanwhile, up ahead, you can see Luke Mason off a little bit in the distance, but Artemi Ilin has a pretty substantial lead now, 9.8 seconds. Artemi Ilin, who I'm trying to remember the last time he won a race in the VGTR Challenge. I don't think he's won one while I have been commentating. But right now he is by far and away the front runner to do so today. We look back a little further as Leon Staplefeld goes very wide and through goes Mohamed Irfan. We look behind, we have another battle. This is Peter Kramers and Martin Kuba, two of the veteran drivers of the VGTR Challenge. And they are two very, very clean drivers as well. I think we can expect good, fair racing between the two of them. Wouldn't expect anything less. And now you'll see separating themselves a little bit more from each other for the time being. If we cut back a little bit, we can probably see a bit of a battle here between the two Dutchmen down, fighting for P13 at the moment. I think actually Carlo van Hens has been lapped by Royce Wilson. They were very, very close for a second there. I thought there was a battle happening. Let's have a little bit of a scroll through the field and see what we see. Can you believe that I've had to say and shout so much today, and we're only 20 minutes into the race? There's our two Porsche drivers who I said worth keeping an eye on because they might have some trouble today. As would Ricky Neldalco. Ricky Neldalco never even got started. Fabrizio Barbierato and Moxtux. Well, just as I say they might have trouble, Moxtux demonstrates that quite nicely, going off at the final corner. Number 78 is round. Who's that? Oop. That is Carlo van der Hens off at turn 1. Rejoining the track nice and safely there. Apologies for flicking through so many drivers so quickly there. Probably very, very disorienting to watch. But I want to give you all the action, you know. You don't want to miss out on anything. Bruno Schnell and Jordan Momchalov here fighting. Both drivers who have been caught up in a couple of incidents so far today. And Tommy Lydon all the time behind them. And don't forget, Tommy Lydon may have pitted, but this is for position. There is theoretically no reason for these guys to give their positions over. Of course, it's probably beneficial to them that they do, because they're just wasting everybody's time by fighting. They're slowing themselves down. However, there is no real... They're not obligated to. You can see Tommy Lydon might have to force this against Bruno Schnell, who I dare say surely won't go for the defensive move here. It wouldn't be wise. Bruno Schnell does very, very sensibly move out of the way. And Tommy Lydon continues his recovery charge through the field. Currently sat P17 out of 22. Scroll back through the field. Andre Lloyd. Disastrous start for him. Chose to take his pit stop early, so he'll be shooting back up the order later. And it seems like on his own he's putting in some good consistent lap times. So we might see the Andre Lloyd recovery drive happen later on this race. For now though, the man from the US will have to settle for trundling around in P22 until everybody else decides to join him on fresh rubber for the rest of the race. Of course, those are the rules in the VGTR Challenge. In case you never watched Season 3 before, we change the rules up every season to keep the drivers on their toes, but you have to do one pit stop in the VGTR Challenge, and you have to change your tyres. You can add fuel if you want. You don't have to, but you can. A lot of drivers do. And that's basically it. You just have to change your tyres. If you do that, then you can carry on with your race. Mohamed Irfan, side by side with Matas Sidikakis. Matas seemed to go a little bit wide there, and I think Mohamed Irfan might be able to take this corner if he gets more speed. But the thing is, Matas is very, very fast in a straight line here. Will it be enough? Matas trying to out the inside, and that's a crash. And I think there's only really one person you can blame for that, and it's not the man from Indonesia, Mohamed Irfan there. I think Matas... Maybe that's worth another look, to be honest. It looked like he went a bit aggressive on the defence there. Mohamed Irfan paying the price for it, but we'll have to see what the stewards say about that one. No doubt that will get reported. Mohamed Irfan, luckily for him though, only actually dropping one position. He falls neatly into the middle of this battle between Martin Kuba and Peter Kramers that we saw earlier. But such a shame for a man who looked like he was... very, very well poised to make a challenge for the runner-up spot in the championship, or even for the championship itself if Tommy Lydon struggles today. Of course, not too much of a trouble for Tommy Lydon, because you do get to drop one round of the championship, and so right now Tommy Lydon will be dropping this one because his other three are all victories. And it's safe to assume that maybe this will still be the one he drops at the end of the season if things do not improve. Mohamed Irfan almost getting collected there. Was at risk of it. Moxtux seems to have gone off somewhere. Oh. Now how has he done that? Oh, and meanwhile, hang on a minute, what's that in the background? We cut away. That wasn't even me doing that. And just as we cut away, Carlo van der Henst is facing the wrong way, and he makes a collision with Bruno Schnell, and now Jordan Monchlov's there as well. And I think Jordan Monchlov might use this opportunity to get past Bruno Schnell, but I think actually no, being very, very gentlemanly there. The Bulgarian driver refusing to take the unearned opportunity and sticks behind for the time being. We love to see that kind of behaviour in the VGTR challenge. That's what we like to see. Moxtux does have some internet issues normally in these races, so I assume that's what we've just seen there, him clipping into the pit wall there. So I think that was an internet issue. So sadly, we have our first retirement through no fault of his own. Moxtux has had to pull out of this race, and now we can carry on, I suppose. Here's Artemi Ilin, you see, coming up to lap the stragglers. Andre Lloyd catching up to this lot as well. I'm not sure if they're on the same lap as the American, but I dare say we might find out if they're 18. They're different laps. There should be Christopher Qualls in between them, who's currently just coming through turn 7. I also should point out John Gibson and Alex Kingston are very close together right about now. It looks like they're having a little bit of a battle. But I'm just going to keep my eyes on Artemi Ilin for a second to see navigates these back markers. I'm not tempting fate. I'm just making sure that if anything does happen, we see it. You know? I too tend to miss a lot of stuff because it's hard to keep your eyes on 22 cars at once, and I don't yet have a second monitor to help me with stuff. So in future, we'll miss nothing. But until then, we are forced to miss some things. I'll do my best to mitigate without me here. Still, very, very comfortable out in front. His gap has increased from 9.8 seconds to 14.0. Luke Mason still in second place. You see Bruno Schnell's gone off in the background there. Finds himself very, very deep in the gravel trap. He won't be too happy about that. Jordan Monchlov now able to get away from this battle in which he has been engrossed for the past few laps. Luke Mason, you can see here, all by himself really. And here's a battle to keep our eyes on. Matas Sidikakis in P3, retained his position a little bit, you could argue a little bit by hook or by crook. At turn 1, Carlo van der Henst is going to let them by. Very, very good racing from the number 78 Lamborghini. Matas here will have to deal with Leon Stapelfeld at some point, lurking around behind him, and he's not an easy man to lose. Leon Stapelfeld, very, very fast on his day, one of the relative newcomers to the VGTR Challenge. I believe hopped in at the end of season 2. and has been a consistent presence at the front of the grid ever since. You see Carlo van der Hens there pulling in to the pits. He's going to do his mandatory pit stop. Roy Swelson in the background, you can see that as well, doing his mandatory pit stop. All the drivers getting their chores out of the way for the time being. Luke Mason about to come through the timing split. We can see the gap has increased by another 0.3 since we last looked at it. But all the while, Tommy Lydon still charging his way back through the pack. Currently sat in P13. He's got past Fabrizio Barberato, and it is John Gibson who is next up on his radar. But there's a long way to go before he actually finds Gibson. But anyway, amidst all of this chaos, I think has a pit stop happened? Matas is P2. What's happened there? Why? Where's Luke Mason gone? Hang on a minute, wait, what? Huh? Did anyone see what happened there? Did anyone see what happened there? Because I didn't. Luke Mason's in 4th now. Alright, well, never mind. The era of the British 1-2 comes to an end. Luke Mason now forced to settle for P4 for the time being as Bruno Schnell pulls into the pits to complete his mandatory pit stop. Nope, that wasn't the pit entry, was it? Oh, did he go down there thinking it was a pit entry? No, he's done the pit entry before. Did he just spin off? I don't know what happened there. Bruno Schnell now makes it into the pits to do his mandatory pit stop. Well done, Bruno. Second time lucky for Bruno Schnell there, I suppose. But he does eventually make it into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. Matas Sidakerskis, 1.5 second advantage, 1.6 second advantage actually over, 1.4 second advantage now over Leon Staplefeld. Sorry, I know Matas is listening to this. Just keeping you updated, 1.387 seconds behind Leon Staplefeld, Luke Mason behind him, 2 seconds further back, and then you've got quite a long way back, 10 seconds or so to Martin Kuba and Mohamed Irfan fighting for P5. Carlo van der Hens has gone off ahead of these guys. Been a rough race for Carlo van der Hens, I have to say. I think I wouldn't do any better because these conditions are really, really hard to drive, and I think he's shown us all that it's possible to spin off absolutely anywhere here. And he's, generally been a fairly consistent driver at Bathurst. Not one of the front runners in the series, but definitely not somebody who was causing yellow flags constantly. So that just shows you how hard this really is to drive. And who's gone off here? That's Josh Buckwalter, another disaster for the online racing collective. Josh Buckwalter dropping a couple of positions there. Alex Kingston and John Gibson both go by. Josh Buckwalter relegated to P12 for the time being. Car number 91, Daniel Reyes, who we very, very briefly spoken about, he has gone off the track as well. Comes in for his mandatory pit stop. It's hard to keep track of everybody going off track here. And it should be pointed out that Carlo van der Hens goes a little bit wide there as our race engineer. I don't know why I, as a commentator, have to have a race engineer, but he's telling me that we're halfway through the race. Mohamed Irfan here leading this little battle. Got past Martin Kuba at some point. You see there the 3 drivers coming through down towards the old hairpin. Peter Kramer's in P7, the last of them to pass. A bit of a gap from these guys back to Felix Payant at in P8 there, 8.5 seconds to be precise. You can see just lurking around behind him is another one of the faster drivers in the series, Giorgio Zacchetti. Oh, we have the onboard camera in a different place on this one. Very, very consistent normally, Giorgio Zacchetti. A little bit prone to incidents in Season 2, but generally certainly not a dangerous driver by any means. A driver who held himself and everybody else to the very highest of racing standards and abided by them for the most part, absolutely flawlessly. Often got caught up in incidents that weren't his fault, Giorgio Zacchetti. And I'm not entirely sure what happened to him today, but judging by his luck in the VGTR challenge, I wouldn't be surprised if that was exactly the same yet again. Alex Kingston also having a bit of a nightmare today. John Gibson, P11. And there is P12. Josh Buckwalter has come in for his mandatory pit stop, which means Tommy Lydon is now up in P12 for the time being. 1:36.3 fastest lap. Problem is, in the midst of all this, Artemi Ilin has set the fastest lap of the race as I take a seat for a second so we can have a little look at the man in second place. Look at the steely look of determination in his eyes. Gaze into them and see the whole of motorsport gaze back at you. Alright, enough messing about. Let's get back to the race. But yes, Tommy Lydon still on his recovery drive. What lap time is he going to set here? It's going to be a 1:36.3. And 1:36.3 for him. Artemi Ilin last lap was a 1:36.2. So even on older tyres, having not done his pit stop, Artemi Ilin is continuing to pull out his lead. The question is, what's this lap going to be? It's going to be even faster. 1:36.8, half a second taken out by Tommy Lydon in that one. Artemi Ilin will be hoping for the fastest pit stop possible. As we see number 78, Carlo van der Henst going off track over on the exit of turn 6 there. All the drivers really, look at the minimap. All of the drivers, all of the action over in one area of track right about now. Let's have a look at this little battle. Right, as I cut over there, Jordan Momchalov off the circuit at the final corner. Comes out of it now, going to dive into the pits, take his mandatory pit stop, as is Mohamed Irfan. Behind him, Martin Kuba, who's going to carry on, and Peter Kramers, he's going to choose to duck in. Just past the halfway mark, we're beginning to see some pitters. Let's have a look in the pits, see what we can see. Daniel Reyes there and Jordan Momchalov parking inside each other. Christopher Qualls is going to get going. A lot of drivers are going to be coming out of the pits pretty soon, I would imagine. There goes who is that? I'm not sure actually who that is. That was 34. Felix Pyatt and Fabrizio Barbierato is who that was, I can tell you. That's Christopher Qualls in the lovely bright yellow Aston Martin. Comes out of the pits and continues with his race, as does Josh Buckwalter behind. Don't think he actually came out of the pits. I think he came out of the pits the last lap. But he's also there. Tommy Lydon and Daniel Reyes getting a little bit close there. We can see now Artemi Ilin on board with our race leader, looking very, very comfortable at the front now. 1:36.1 last lap. It was invalid, but it was quick. And now look, Peter Kramer's behind. Peter Kramer's one of the most sensible drivers in the series. I say probably the most drama-free driver in the series in terms of get his involvements with other drivers. Very, very wisely stepping out of the way. Artemi Ilin not held up in any way by the back markers, which is what we love to see. And right now, he's looking like a good shout for victory here at Donnington Park. Matas Sitakeskis, who labelled Donnington as one of his favourite circuits, also having a good time right about now in P2. Still less than a second back to Leon Stapelfelt. That battle is just not leaving either of them. And you'll see here they come down into the old hairpin now. We'll watch them for a little bit. We'll see what they're up to. It seems like Leon Stapelfelt beginning to close in a little bit. 0.537 seconds separate these two drivers. As I stand back up to continue my cast, things have begun to settle down a little bit. You'll see in somewhere between in 10 and 30 minutes time, the rain will cease. Now, could this mean a change in conditions? That is what the top 6 drivers, are probably wondering, as they are all yet to pit. The question is, when do they start? Artemi Ilin chooses to go another lap without pitting. Matas Sitakeskis and Leon Stapelfelt here. They are the next two to approach the pit area. And Matas has gone wide. What's happened here? He's shut down or something? He's stopped moving altogether. What's happened to Matas? He's not moving at all. This is a disaster. I didn't know we had mechanical failures, but he's not moving in the slightest. And I think, is this the end of Mattis's race? And if so, what a way for it to go. It was going so well for Matas Sidakerskis. It was going to be by far his best race in the VGTR Challenge. But there we go. We're another driver down. Matas Sidakerskis pulls up and retires from the race, coming out of the Melbourne hairpin. And well, that is very, very sad indeed. I'm very, very disappointed to see that. Not what we like to see at all. We want to see all our drivers make it to the end of the race if they can. But on this occasion, it's not to be for Matas Sidakerskis. And now, let's have a look at our series leader. We see our race leader. We see Joran Momchlov has gone off the track a little bit there. Just recovering himself back onto the circuit. Behind him comes Andre Lloyd, and then our current P2 driver Leon Staplefelt. Andre Lloyd moving out of the way to allow the man from Germany past. Artemi Ilin yet again chooses not to pit. His race continues unencumbered by pit stops, unencumbered by tyre changes. Andre Lloyd moving out of the way now to let Luke Mason by. This battle for P2 beginning to hot up, but all the while Tommy Lydon, look at the minimap, he's on the other side of the circuit, but when the pit stops are as long as they are in the VGTR Challenge, who knows if that's going to be enough. And now, here we go, Leon Staplefelt is going to be hoping, Leon Staplefelt and Luke Mason will be hoping they can come out ahead of Tommy Lydon. Let's cut to our championship leader now. Let's ride on board and see if he comes out ahead of them. Keep your eyes on the minimap. Number 666 and number 808 are what you need to keep your eyes on in particular. Stood in the pit lane right now. Tommy Lydon wanting to catch up to them. We're hoping to get clear of them because that will give him free rein to go and chase down, just keep setting fast lap times and chase down Artemi Ilin. Any delay at this point for Tommy Lydon is a disaster. However, he might have a chance coming into the final corner now of the circuit. Very, very controlled from Tommy Lydon. Will he get out ahead of them? I think he's going to. Leon Staplefelt has just started moving, but it's not going to be enough. You're going to see here from his perspective. There's Tommy Lydon going by into turn 1. Leon Staplefelt relegated back down to P5 for the time being. Tommy Lydon in P4, and with his pit stop out of the way, that gap is pretty big. Leon Staplefelt, you see there, getting a little bit slidey. Fresh tyres for him, of course. It might be cold. It's going to be very, very low grip for Leon Staplefelt for a little bit. Up ahead, you see we've got a driver off the circuit, and that was Carlo van der Hens, just recovering himself nicely there. And all the while, we have now, crucially, another pitter. And look who it is in the pits. It's Artemi Ilin. Once again, we're going to keep our cameras on him because we want to see where this guy comes out. Keep your eyes on the standings. We have a driver off circuit there. Who's that? Around number 69, just ahead of him. Somebody's gone off circuit there, and I can't quite work out who it is. It might be number 78. Oh, Carlo van der Hens. That's right. And look at this, Tommy Lydon. He's only just coming up to the Melbourne hairpin now. Artemi Ilin out onto the main straight. He's done his pit stop and he's come out in the lead of the race. When all is said and done, all the pit stops are counted up, he will be leading. Martin Kuba currently first on track ahead of Alex Kingston. There is Alex Kingston directly ahead of Artemi Ilin at the moment. Martin Kuba just around the corner, but Artemi Ilin right now looks like a shoo-in for victory, and I don't know what kind of penalty he might get, but I dare say it's not going to be enough to make up this absolutely stonking gap that he has been able to build up over the course of this race. See Alex Kingston here just trying to get past Bruno Schnell, and Bruno Schnell does move out of the way. Will he move out of the way for Artemi Ilin as well? He's going to have to any moment now, you would feel. And coming out of the straight, coming out onto the straight, he has plenty of opportunities to do so. He should just pull over any moment now and let the number 19 Aston Martin by. You see Artemi Ilin flashing his lights a little bit there, trying to get Bruno Schnell's attention, but it's not happening right now. You imagine surely it can't take too long, and there we go. Bruno Schnell maybe this time. Is he moving over? Yes, he is. Good driving in the end from Bruno Schnell. Didn't really hold on Artemi Ilin too much. That's it. Artemi Ilin's gone a little bit Oh my goodness, I think Bruno Schnell took a lot of speed into that corner. Caught himself a little bit off guard and almost left himself in the gearbox of Artemi Ilin. That would have been not particularly fun for either man there. But thankfully, no dramas to speak of. Artemi Ilin still leading this race. Alex Kingston up ahead in P2. And Martin Kuba in the lead, both yet to pit. And we could see them being overtaken by our race leader even before they make it into their pit stop. With 20 minutes to go, it's simply a question of survival for Artemi Ilin. And as a relatively accomplished wet weather driver, this shouldn't be too much of an ask for him. I believe first and second place may be already decided. Leon Stapleford has about an entire straight forwards to Tommy Lydon. Luke Mason as well has a little bit of a gap forwards to Leon Stapleford. 3 seconds to make up there. That's going to be hard. And crucially, one thing to point out. Here is Leon Stapleford currently in the net P3 in this race. You can see just in the background there Luke Mason, and behind him Mohamed Irfan has recovered from his little incident on lap 1 where he dropped way down the order, and he's now challenging to finish potentially in the podium positions in this race, which we think would be a result which he would take, all things considered. Especially given how he started out this race, facing backwards very, very early on. Definitely not a bad result at all for Mohamed Irfan. But for now, we can relax a little bit, really, and just enjoy watching the cars make their way home. I'm going to keep my eyes on this little battle between Mohamed Irfan and Luke Mason. Let's ride on board with the man from Indonesia for a little bit, and let's see if we can get a good. Can we get the good angle? Yes, we can. Let's have a look at his steering inputs especially, and see how much he's struggling as he gets right up onto the back of the Brit in the number 808 Audi. So just choosing not to go for the move into turn 1. Not much of a braking zone, really. Quite a hard move to go for on some occasions. Of course, Mohamed Irfan also getting caught up in an incident later on in the race as well. 2 incidents for him today. Not slowing him down in any way. You see little corrections on the steering wheel. See how much correcting he has to do. So much exit speed from the old hairpin as he closes in on Luke Mason, but the move itself is not quite coming yet. And instead, he's having to sit behind Luke Mason for the time being. There might be an opportunity on the straight. Luke Mason has suffered from his exit speed here on a couple of occasions. And look at this, he does suffer once again. Mohamed Irfan so much quicker out the corner, trying to go as wide as possible to try and maximise his exit speed, find a little bit of a gap, not bump Luke Mason anyway. Unfortunately for Mohamed Irfan, it ends with him going off into the grass a little bit, and that's going to be a problem. However, Luke Mason making a mistake through the S's, and now this is the chance for the number 404 Ferrari. He'll cut to the outside to watch this move happen. Will Luke Mason be able to hold on? He goes very deep into the Melbourne hairpin. The only problem is Mohamed Irfan is right there, but they're side by side heading towards the final corner. Mohamed Irfan maybe with a slight advantage with a nose ahead, but Luke Mason has track position, and you see he's able to reach the inside of the corner first, and Mohamed Irfan forced to look at the rear of that Audi for another lap. The only question now is, can he go for a move into turn 1? But I don't believe it would be a particularly wise move, and indeed Mohamed Irfan, he knows better than to do that. He's going to stick elsewhere. I just want to point out a change in the lead of the race has happened. Martin Kuba has been relegated to P2, Alex Kingston getting by him, but we're not leaving this battle for a second, because this potentially has the chance to decide P3. If Mohamed Irfan can get by quickly, he could catch Leon Stapleford. He could lift himself onto the podium when all the pit stops have shaken out, but he's got to get past Luke Mason first, and it's not going to be easy. Look at the exit speed though once again from Mohamed Irfan. Luke Mason choosing to go a little bit defensive there, forcing Mohamed Irfan to wait once again, but this time the exit speed is that much worse for Luke Mason. They are side by side going down the straight down towards the S's here. We could see this battle continue yet again. Luke Mason tries to move over to take the line properly. Mohamed Irfan thinking about going for a dive up the inside. Of course, he tried to get past Matas and made a mistake here, but now it's Luke Mason making the error, and Mohamed Irfan moves by and into P6. Luke Mason relegated down into P7, which will become P5 once all the pit stops have been completed. Martin Kuba currently in the pits, so they will both gain a position here. Luke Mason will retain 6th position at the end of this lap, but Mohamed Irfan moves up ahead into P5. And here comes our pitting driver, Martin Kuba, in the number 420 Audi. The man from Germany finding himself coming out just behind Giorgio Zacchetti now. And once again, right on board, see how he deals with the cold tyres on his outlap. He'll be wanting to get ahead of Giorgio Zacchetti if he can, but crucially he'll also be wanting to come out ahead of Alex Kingston if he has anything to say about it. Alex Kingston coming around the final corner now, and could find himself embroiled in a battle with Giorgio Zacchetti once he comes out of the pits if his lap is not very, very fast indeed. However, Alex Kingston choosing to carry on yet another lap with no pit stop. We're almost towards the last 10 minutes of this race. Only 2 retirees, Moxtux and Matas, the 2 drivers to drop out for the time being. An unfortunate end to their races. Unreal Engine 4 error for Matas. A shame. And yeah, Mohamed Irfan, that's I think it was, yeah, it was I respect the attempted defense, but yeah, that's unfortunate way to end the race for sure, because even if you didn't belong to be there, Matas, you drove very, very well after you got there, and I think it would have been a deserved good result even with the Mohamed Irfan incidents. Now let's have a look. Alex Kingston still not coming into the pits. Martin Kuba settling into this gap nicely between Giorgio Zacchetti and Peter Kramers. It's amazing how after so many laps these drivers are just a few seconds away from each other. Let's have a little scroll down the field, see who we can see. Felix Payan, one of the only 2 drivers in the field yet to pit. The other being our current race leader, Alex Kingston. Behind him, Christopher Qualls in P18. Been a quiet race for Christopher Qualls. Not really seen too much from him. Which, given that we've cut to a lot of people for spinning off, is not bad going. Alex Kingston is in the pits now. We'll cut to him in a second actually. There's Andre Lloyd up in P14 now. A bit of a awkward weekend for him so far. Good start, marred by incidents in the middle of the race. Jordan Momshlov with the damage on that Ferrari ahead of John Gibson here in P11. Good result for Gibson so far. It has to be said. We'll probably go up into the top 10 once Felix Payan has pitted. Now let's have a look where Alex Kingston is going to come out. You'll see the drivers he might be competing with coming round the final couple of corners now. Here's the onboard from Giorgio Zacchetti. He'll be hoping he can get ahead of Alex Kingston. The problem is Alex Kingston is a very, very rapid driver. Look at the pit exit. You can see the white Ferrari coming out onto turn 1 now. Alex Kingston, he's come out ahead of Giorgio Zacchetti, so he will be in P6 at this time, and there's quite a big gap forward as well. You can just probably about see going down towards the old hairpin now. That is Alex Kingston. The sort of black smudge on your screen is his car in the distance. And so any hope we had for a last couple of laps of battle between himself and Giorgio Zacchetti, sadly they'll have to wait for another time. We're just waiting for this one to last few laps to close themselves out. We'll run on board with Martin Kuba again, because I think he's having quite an interesting race. Currently sat in P8. Oh, excuse me. I was up very late last night. Peter Kramer's behind him, of course. Let's have a look at what he's up to. Listen to the noise from this McLaren for a little bit. Hang on, I see some text down there. While there's nothing happening on track, you know what we got. You know what we got to do. Is this real text? They have got real text on here. What do you know? They've even got an FIA sticker. I'm actually quite impressed. It's not even just Laura Ipson for once. How cool, huh? And there is Peter himself. Just see what he sees now out of his windscreen. You can see Martin Kuba taking a little bit of a wider entry line into turn 1. Perhaps hoping that there's more grip there. He does seem to have the exit speed, so he seems to have unlocked a little bit of a secret. In turn 1, Felix Pyant still choosing not to pit for the time being. Our last non-pitting driver. And look at Peter Kramer's now getting right up to the back of Martin Kuba. I love this onboard camera, especially in the wet. It just feels a little bit cozy, doesn't it? Anyway, Peter Kramer's though right up behind the man from Germany now, our season 1 runner-up, swerving about, trying to find some kind of route past. This is the area of the track to do it, all down this sort of back straight through the S's down to the Melbourne hairpin. We've seen so many moves in this area today. And it's all going to rely on will Martin Kuba make a mistake or not, I think. Without it, it might be quite hard to pass. But Peter Kramer has all the pace in the world. Look how close he's getting to the rear bumper of that Audi. But for now, nothing is forthcoming for the man from the Netherlands. Plenty of work to do today as Peter Kramer's in the race. P8 would be an okay result for him. I think he'd probably take it given the quality of the drivers ahead of him. But especially given his luck so far in this championship, it seems to have taken a little bit of a turnaround as he goes a little bit wide out the final corner. Not going to cost him too much, however. But yeah, and plenty of work to do after the race. A fair few incidents to look at. After this one. But for now, he's just going to carry on with his little journey around the circuit. Now here's another car we can listen to. Listen to the sound that the Honda makes for a bit. I like the noise. I'm a Honda enjoyer. Honda and Ferrari, that's what I drive. Carlo van der Henst up ahead, and see has slightly gone off the circuit, recovered himself well. And Peter Kramer has gone off ahead the minute we cut away. What's happened? Peter Kramer's, just as I was saying, that his luck has turned around. It all goes wrong. What has he done? Peter Kramer's, he's off the track. He's going to be relegated down to P... well, actually, he's not going to lose a single position. He's going to lose one to Felix Pyant, but Felix Pyant still has to pit. Definitely not what Peter Kramer's would have been hoping for, though. A bit of a disaster for him, which has been something of the story of his season so far. And I should also point out, as we cut forwards, Mohammed Irfan, he's gotten past and is extending his gap back to Leon Stapelfelt. He's absolutely on fire right now. As I say that, he goes off track a little bit, but keeps it under control very, very nicely. Currently in P3 and looking pretty safe. I told you he could get P3. I don't know how many of you doubted me, because to be honest, I doubted myself a little bit. But nonetheless, it is a solid performance from Mohammed Irfan today. But also a question of what could have been. A couple incidents for him on lap 1 and in the middle of the race as well. Could have beaten Tommy Lydon today, Mohammed Irfan perhaps. But I dare say P3 at the end of the day, he'll take it. I think he'll be quite happy with the result. He won't be letting it get him down in any way, shape or form, I would imagine. Especially the recovery drive. This is probably up there with drive of the season for me. As we see, number 78, Carlo van Hens, has gone off in at the old hairpin. Let's have a look at what else we have. We have this little battle here. Alex Kingston, Luke Mason, the two front row occupiers, currently occupying 5th and 6th position even. What would have been row 3 on the grid. And Alex Kingston, the pole setter, trying to get past Luke Mason. Wait, was Luke Mason on pole? Was Luke Mason on pole though? No, wasn't it? Yeah. Luke Mason, the pole sitter, trying to hold on to 5th place against his countryman here. But Alex Kingston is a very, very rapid driver and will be causing the number 808 Audi a few problems, I imagine. Now watch Alex Kingston trying to pull up alongside, coming out of the old hairpin, trying to go side by side, but Luke Mason has too much pace for that. The question is, what's going to happen for the rest of this lap? Luke Mason goes a little bit wide and the exit speed is compromised as a result. He's forced to go defensive here up into turn 7. And he goes wide here as well. Alex Kingston's got such a better line, and in the end Luke Mason can barely even compete, but he is side by side. He could try and sling one up the inside and take his position back. Going into the S's, will he try it? You bet he's going to. Luke Mason dives down the inside, and once again it is beautifully controlled. The question is, does he have the exit speed? No, he does not. Alex Kingston definitely faster coming out there, and they're going to be side by side once again going down to the Melbourne hairpin. Luke Mason, this has been a weaker corner for him, gone wide on a number of occasions, but this time sticking close to the inside, forcing Alex Kingston to go the long way round. The problem is Alex Kingston's found the exit speed on the outside of the circuit. Luke Mason trying to battle back around the outside of the final corner. He's going to try and go, but settles in line eventually, and he watches as Alex Kingston pulls ahead on the home straight, and that is going to be P5 for the number 77 Ferrari now. Scroll back, we see Giorgio Zacchetti occupying P7 behind him. Martin Kuba all alone now after Peter Kramer's dropped his car, and currently just coming to the end of his 35th lap of the race. Behind him, a man starting his 37th and final lap of the race. Sorry. 1:34.1. It's his fastest lap of the race on the last lap. He has not slowed down since the very, very beginning of this one. Artemi Ilin has been absolutely on fire from start to finish. Maybe questions will be raised about the tangling with Tommy Lydon, but personally, I think no matter what happened there, Artemi Ilin is a very deserving winner today, and barring any disasters on the final lap, that is exactly what he will be, the winner of this race. And what a race it has been. Drama from start to finish. Calm down a little bit towards the end. You'll see the rain has stopped and the track is beginning to get a little bit more of a dry line. You can see some of the darker tarmac there, making things a little bit easier for our drivers, but still, tricky conditions from start to finish have made for some very, very interesting racing, but in the end only one man can come out on top in this battle. 22 drivers started the race. 20 drivers are going to finish it. Moxas and Matas fell by the wayside, and to Artemi Ilin, so did 20 other drivers, 19 even. Artemi Ilin comes across the line. It's going to be his first victory in the VGTR challenge for God knows how long, probably since season 1. I'm going to look that up in a second. Christopher Qualls coming across the line. He'll finish in P18, Carlo van Hensen P20, and Andre Lloyd P14. Joe Gibson P10. There is the runner-up in this race, Tommy Lydon. He's going to settle for P2 today. Oh, I've clicked the wrong button and I've lost all of my time. There we go, let's get that back. Yorda Momshlov P15. There's the flares going off as Mohammed Irfan comes around the final corner for P3. 1:33.5 fastest lap. Fastest lap of the race for Tommy Lyon in the end, though. Josh Buckwalter in P11, Felix Pine P12. Look how close the ORC drivers are at the end of that. Really are inseparable, those guys. It's P16 for Royce Wilson, 4th for Leon Stablefeld, and 17th for Bruno Schnell. Alex Kingston 5th, Luke Mason 6th, Giorgio Zacchetti coming home in 7th, Martin Kuba 8th, Fabrizio Barbiotto will come 13th, and it will be Peter Kramer's. Not sure what he was doing there, but Peter Kramer's will be the last driver to cross the line in this one. I'm just quickly looking at the SimGrid page. VGTR challenge. Scroll. Where is it? Oh, I don't have the standings for the first season. Disaster. But anyway, maybe I have them somewhere. That is your final result. Artemi Ilin, congratulations to him. Tommy Lydon in P2, Mohammed Irfan P3. Tommy Lydon does pick up a point for fastest lap of the race, and I am just going to leave you looking at this real quick while I search through my DMs for scroll right back to the very start. Let's have a little look at this. Where are we? Where's Artemi Ilin? There he is. Oh, hang on a minute. This is a horribly formatted Word document. I need to go to Google Drive for this. Google Drive. My Drive. I need to get my downloads, don't I? Downloads. Yes. Upload that to here. Is it going to work? Yes. Okay, that works. It's Artemi Ilin's first victory for a long time. How long is the question? I can't even see because it cuts off. The championship results thing I was given cuts off. It might be his first victory ever. I don't know. What I can say for sure is that it's his first victory of this season. It's his first victory since at least season 1. And that is one hell of a result for him. Very good race from all today. And right, let's cut back to a much nicer view. Look how bright it is in my apartment now. Bloody hell. It's changed. I'm slightly off centre as well. Let's move me this way a little bit. I've changed position for some reason mid-race. That is the end of race number 2 of the VGTR, race number 3, sorry, the VGTR Challenge Season 3. It's round 4, isn't it? I've only just realised that. I was talking about it constantly, all race long, about how there were 3 races before this, and I just clocked this race 4. So the stream title's wrong again. Oops. Oh well. Congratulations to Artemi Ilin and Tommy Lydon and Mohammed Irfan for making it onto the podium. I think no one will argue with the results today in terms of who deserves to be where. Maybe Tommy Lydon will have a word or two to say, I don't know. However, I think it's a very well driven race from all. We'll be back for either the, well, there'll definitely be a broadcast. I might be there, who knows, for the M2 Cup, for the 3rd race of the season in that. The actual 3rd race of the season for that will be coming to you live from Donnington Park once again. Can't get away. You know, figure while we're there, 2 races for the price of 1. And then race 5, the penultimate race of season 3 of the VGTR Challenge, will be coming away on June the 18th, 1 week from today, all the way from lovely, iconic Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. So, until then, it's goodbye from me, and I hope you have a good week, and do come back next time out. If you enjoyed this race, you'll probably enjoy the next one, because it's Spa, always produces some chaos. But yeah, until then, adios, Todzines.